Tuberculosis is a disease that predates the pharaohs, and it's a disease that the world has never controlled. In 2024, there were 10 million new cases of TB throughout the world, and 1.2 million people died. That's more than 3,000 deaths every single day, more than for any other infection. Most human TB is caused by a pathogen called Mycobacterium tuberculosis. It's evolved to be highly adept at hiding from the host immune response by hiding in cells, meaning that people who are infected with TB can't readily or easily clear the infection. It's estimated that 1 in 4 people across the planet, a quarter of the world's population, are latently infected with TB. That means TB is dormant or sleeping inside their body, but can reactivate if those people become immunosuppressed for any reason. And typically the common causes of that will be co-infection with HIV, will be cancer chemotherapy, or simply the immune senescence that happens with old age. Treatment of drug-sensitive TB takes 6 months. The drugs are toxic. And the 2 drugs we use to treat TB, the most important drugs we use, rifampicin and isoniazid, were developed in the 1950s. Then there were 60 years where no new drugs were developed for TB, largely because TB rates were falling in high-income countries. We urgently need new drugs to treat TB. We need them to treat TB, we need safer drugs, we need drugs that are better so that we can treat TB for shorter periods of time, and we need drugs that can treat drug-resistant TB. In 2024, there were almost 400,000 people diagnosed with drug-resistant TB around the world. Treating drug-resistant TB takes longer, is harder, and cure rates are lower than treating drug-sensitive TB. We need new drugs, but ultimately the most effective way to control any infectious disease is with effective vaccination. The only infection the world has ever eradicated, smallpox, was by effective vaccination. And we all saw the transformative power of highly effective vaccines in the COVID pandemic. In TB, we have one licensed vaccine. It's called BCG. It was developed over 100 years ago. When BCG is given at birth, as it is throughout most of the world, or in the neonatal period, it confers reliable protection against TB meningitis and TB that is spread outside of the lungs in childhood. But it offers almost no protection against adult pulmonary disease in high-burden countries. We urgently need new vaccines. Vaccines to prevent TB, so we don't have to use antibiotics at all. Vaccines to give to that quarter of the world's population who are latently infected to help their body eradicate that latent infection and prevent that reactivating. But perhaps we also need vaccines to give to people who have TB disease. And we could give those vaccines in what we call a therapeutic vaccine, so that we give them to stimulate the host immune response, to help the host immune response kill TB, as well as give that patient drugs, so that the drugs and the vaccines act synergistically. In the INEOS Oxford Institute, chemists, biologists, immunologists, vaccinologists, and clinicians are all working together to develop new drugs and new vaccines to treat and control TB. We're starting with animal models, we're starting with laboratory models, and when we develop combinations that work, we will move them forward into clinical testing. After decades of neglect, I think for TB, the world has finally woken up to the fact we live on a small planet and that we have to develop tools to control this devastating pathogen. Thank you.